Welcome to the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast, the show where we shine a light on incredible businesses, community leaders, and local legends who are shaping our town. I'm your host, James O'Donnell, and today we are joined by Leslie Calder on behalf of the DKMS. Leslie, great to have you on the show.
Great to be here.
Leslie, for those of us who don't know what you do, what DKMS is, who are you and what do you do?
Okay. I am a volunteer for DKMS. DKMS, it stands for, because I know I'm going to be asked, Deutsche Knochenmarkspender-Datei, which in English roughly translates as German Bone Marrow Register. And so my role as actually the lead volunteer here in Bishop Stortford is we've set up a volunteer hub to help raise awareness about stem cell donation, to actually register more people to the stem cell register here in the UK, and to try and also raise some funds to support the costs of registration, because it's £40 a person to actually to get them actually physically up onto the register. So that's what we do.
And what sparked your support of the work the DKMS do?
Well, I have a very personal connection to that. My connection is that back in summer of 2019, I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, which is a pretty aggressive blood cancer. And I was sort of diagnosed in the morning, told to go to A&E in the afternoon, was blue lit from Harlow to Addenbrooke's that day and starting chemotherapy that night. And apart from, I think, a week or so at home, I was essentially in hospital for 3 months, trying to get me into remission. But I was told pretty much early on that because of the genetics of my leukemia, that I would need something called a stem cell transplant, which was, I had no idea really what that was. But essentially, if you think of somebody who has a liver that's not functioning correctly anymore, and they need to have a liver transplant, it's the same idea. Your blood, your immune system is all created within your bone marrow. We need to get rid of what's not functioning correctly and give you essentially a new system. And that's done through the stem cells from your bone marrow. So that's what I had in December that year. I had a stem cell transplant. Subsequently, friends and family joined the stem cell register themselves to help others. One of those people that joined was my son, and he himself was found a few years later to be a match for a gentleman in America. And that was all through DKMS. And so I then got more involved in what they were doing because I was healthy at that point. And I started getting involved a little bit in a patient campaign, and then sort of thought, well, I really enjoyed doing that, really liked getting involved, giving something back. And so when I realized that there was nothing locally within the Hertfordshire, Essex sort of area, I said, I would quite like to do something here. Would you be happy for me to set up a volunteer hub? And they bit my hand off. So that's what we're doing. We set up last September.
Today's podcast is brought to you by a great local business helping people take back their time in Bishop Stortford. If your weekends are getting swallowed by cleaning instead of time with your family, I get it. As a dad of 2 young boys, I know how fast those moments can go, and I've been let down by cleaners before. That's why I use Time For You Cleaning. They're reliable, friendly, and give you one less thing to worry about. If you want your time back, head to timeforyou.cleaning and let them know the podcast sent you. Get back your precious time and support local. Right, back to the show. Wow, so incredible! What a story that you've gone through, and fantastic that the system kind of worked for you.
Yeah.
But you were explaining before we start pressing record, but there's a big disparity between, for example, where people might donate blood and where they might be able to donate stem cells. Can you talk to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the reality is we all know about blood donation, whether we do it or we don't, but everybody knows about it as something that you can do, a really easy way to help support potentially somebody going through treatment or whatever. And about 46% of the UK population that's eligible to be a blood donor is actually signed up and is regularly donating blood, which is fantastic. However, in the UK at the minute, there's only maybe about 7% of the eligible UK population that are registered to the potential stem cell donors. And of course, the difficulty is, I would say we've got about 2,000 people a year looking for a stem cell donation transplant because they haven't got a match within their own families. And there's only 7% of the UK population that have joined. Obviously, we've got access to worldwide registers, which means that quite often we find that people are finding they're getting transplants from elsewhere in the world if there's somebody who's a genetic match. And this is really what it's down to. If you think of the UK population at the moment, we're not extremely diverse population. And this is nothing to do with blood type, to do with your personal genetic heritage. So my background is I'm Irish and Scottish. If we go far enough back. And so I was lucky my sister was a sibling, but if she hadn't been a sibling, then we would have needed to search the register to find somebody who had a similar genetic disposition to, make up to me. And similarly, my son, when he was found to be a match for somebody, that person was actually in America. Well, if you think about where people have moved to, you think of the Scots and the Irish, where have we moved to? We're in America, we're in Canada, we're in Australia and New Zealand. So it was, you can understand why he would have been flagged as a potential match. His genetic heritage is there. And when we're then talking about populations where we've got people who are from a minority ethnic background, there are less people on the register at the moment who are either from those backgrounds or where there is mixed ethnicity, because that just makes an already complicated situation of trying to match, because it is a needle in the haystack. Even with my son being the match, that was still a needle in the haystack situation, but it's just complicated beyond belief when we end up looking at mixed ethnicity, because then we've got don't know what's back in heritage that is going to complicate finding that perfect match. And that's what we're always trying to do, is to find the best match.
It's fascinating that the way that it's different to the blood
Yes.
side of things. But as you said, the numbers that only 7% are registered to donate stem cells. This is the most information I've ever had about this.
Yeah.
So hopefully, through us talking about it, this is going to promote the work that you're doing. But
Yeah.
how do we increase that number? If anyone's listening now and think, oh well, this is something that I can support with, what's the thing that we need to do to get registered? I don't know.
Right. Well, it's really easy. The actual process of registering is a combination of providing a little bit of information about yourself so that we have an understanding of what your genetic heritage is. But the main is a little bit of information gathering, which takes a few minutes to complete, and that can be done online. So you can go to dkms.org.uk/register. And anybody who's between the age of 17 and 55, if they're in general good health, they will be able to potentially sign up as a stem cell donor. So the first bit, if you're going online, you'll be asked for some information. There'll be some minor medical qualifications, because I said you need to be in general good health. There are some medical reasons why people would not be acceptable as a donor. And that would be, if somebody had an autoimmune disease, for example. We're trying to replace somebody's blood/immune system, so it wouldn't be appropriate to take stem cells from those individuals. Equally, it may be that they have a health condition that would mean we would prefer that they didn't do it for their own personal health. So there can be a number of reasons, but essentially, once the details have been filled in, then we will send them out this. So we will send them out a swab kit that has 3 little cheek swabs, so it's a minute each side, and then a third one sort of all around. So it takes 3 minutes in total to do that. Pop it in an envelope, which we then have a free post packet, and you send that back to us. And in 4 to 6 weeks, we'll have that back through our labs and you'll be registered. And that's it. At that point, you sit on the register until you are 61 years old, or you tell us that you don't want to be on the register anymore for whatever reason. And at 61, unfortunately, worldwide, everybody comes off the register, because at that point it's judged that, well, we all know we start to perhaps fall apart slightly when we get to certain ages, but equally, perhaps we may have health conditions that themselves would preclude it being as sensible for us to go through the processes. So we're constantly, one of my challenges is obviously to make sure we know that people are being aged out at the top end. So we're constantly looking to actually encourage more people to join at the bottom end of this so that they're on for the longest period of time, and to give the maximum chance for them to be flagged as being a potential donor for somebody anywhere in the world, wherever the genetic twin is, if they need them. I would like them to already be on that register, able to help at that point of need.
Yeah, I think that sounds like something that a lot of people would want to be able to support and help with. And it seems like a very simple process. What are you doing locally to help raise awareness around the work that you're doing?
So we've, obviously we're on the socials. We've got our own personal Facebook and Instagram and things like that. But we're going out with, various different events. So we had a pop-up event in February at Jackson Square. We had another stall when the carnival at the end of June. We're currently looking at putting a couple of things together in September, because that's Blood Cancer Awareness Month. So we have a big focus on trying to do that. In fact, I understand that we have a challenge coming up, which we'll be part of, to get, I think another 1,000 people added. Now, we won't personally, we'll be adding to that 1,000, but it's to try and get another 1,000 people added. I think there's one specific week towards the end of September. So I suspect one of our challenges will be to try and do that. So I think we're looking, with a bit of luck, to be at the hospital here. So Herts and Essex Hospital, we're just getting final approval to be able to do that. So hopefully we'll be doing that. And also we're talking with Braintree Town Council to actually run an event in their reception for them and anybody else who actually wants to come in from that area as well. And we will be doing the swabs. So we'll be gathering the information. We're able to do it all online. So people just scan a QR code, fill in the information online, and then we'll physically get them to do the swabs at that moment. And we will take those away and get those actually to the lab. So you don't need to worry about stuff coming to your home, etc. We'll do it there and then.
That's great. So what we'll do is when we go live is we'll put some links for people about the events and when they're running. So if anybody's listening to this, you can go on the website and register, but they can also come to the event and then you can do it, help them do all the swabbing and etc.
Absolutely.
Although I think probably post-COVID, we're all very aware of how a swab might go down, but
it's much more pleasant, James. It's none of that sort of the back of the throat or up the nose malarkey. None of that. It's a cheek swab. It's literally swabbing the inside of your cheek. A lot of people have misconceptions about what's involved in actually joining in the first place. You think it's blood draws, and that worries people. I think if you're in the NHS, you're a blood donor, they will just take an additional draw at that point. But for the rest of us, that's not how we do it. We just do it with cheek swabs. The actual process of donation, again, is really simple. Again, lots of people have the view that it's huge needles in spines. It's not any of that. Now, 90% of the time, what's actually done is it's actually a bit like a blood donation, where essentially we just prime your body with a natural hormone for a few days prior to the day of donation. And on the day of donation, it's being like hooked up to give a blood donation, except instead of being hooked up on one side, you're actually hooked up on both. Blood comes out of one side, goes through a machine, it spins out the stem cells that have been building up over the last few days, and blood comes straight back in the other side. So you're just lying there for 4 to 6 hours, doom scrolling or whatever, doing hopefully something a bit more productive for about 4 to 6 hours.
The other thing about that, though, is it's great because if you're called in to give a donation, there's someone that's going to help.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So there's a direct correlation.
You will, when my son was flagged as being a potential match, there were, at that point, I think there were 3 names in the frame worldwide. There were 3 names in the frame. And then it was narrowed down to which would be the best match, because there are other things that they will then look at in terms of, childhood diseases and things like that people have had, just to get things as close as possible. And so he got the call initially at the end of August. He got identified, I think, as being the primary person by middle of October. And then he was told when the date would be. He probably knew that in about November, and that the date was then set for January. So it's that amount of time. And so there's no sort of, by the way, we need you in tomorrow. There's none of that, because we need to do further testing to get more detail than will have been got from the swabs. And then it's just making sure that you are medically fit, medically sound. So, there's a little bit that goes on for you as the donor. And then there's preparation for the transplant patient themselves. So, for example, when I had my transplant, I went in about 10 days before, and I actually had to have all sorts of things being done, but including there's no way to surgically remove your bone marrow. What has to be done, it has to be chemically destroyed and potentially with radiotherapy as well. So you have, as the patient, you have a number of days of preparation to effectively trash your bone marrow so that there's nothing there. This is empty space waiting for these new stem cells to come. And they're magically, you get them transfused over about half an hour. It's that simple. And they work their way to the place in the bone marrow, set up camp, and usually within 2 to 3 weeks start producing blood and therefore your immune system as well. It's the most amazing process. It really is.
It's incredible. And Leslie, the work you're doing is fantastic as well, raising awareness locally. Let's hope we can get, through this podcast and the events that you're doing, we can get some more people signed up. I'll give it a go, and as long as I fall in all the criteria, and we will, and let's get some more people signed up. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Leslie, thanks for that. Are you ready for some more kind of Stortford Spotlight local questions?
Scribble some answers. You made me think, actually. It was quite interesting.
Good.
So, yes.
That's the idea. Well, I want to hear, I want to hear from local people about what's going on and how they're thinking. I want to give a shout out to a brilliant local business making life better right here in Bishop Stortford. If you've ever felt bored or awkward or unmotivated at the gym, well, you're not alone. Getting fit should feel fun. That's what I love about Vida Wellness Club. Besides yoga, Pilates, they also run friendly, energizing dance sessions like Zumba, Zumba Gold, Broadway Boogie that actually make you want to move. You can book a free session now at vidawellnessclub.com and let them know that the podcast sent you. No pressure, just great vibes and a stronger you. Support your fitness and support local. Right, back to the show. Okay. Stortford Spotlight, quick fire. If you could put one sentence on a billboard in Jackson Square, what would it say and who needs to hear it the most?
Well, I kind of want to focus on us.
Go ahead.
Is that all right? So yeah. I would say that donating stem cells is easier than you think, and it is probably the most important match you'll ever make. Will that do?
Yeah, the most important match you'll ever make, and then we can do a little tag underneath it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll mock it up and see what we
can have a go at that.
Yeah,
that would be brilliant. Excellent.
That's good. Okay, number 2. Where do you go in Bishop Stortford that you secretly hope never gets too popular?
Oh, well, I'm a bit of an outdoors person. I love to walk, and that's why I did my Ben Nevis and Great Glen Way challenge this year for DKMS. So it's the Storts. I love walking along the Storts, and I love Waitmore Castle and the gardens and everything else. So, but the Storts, I find it's just relaxing. I love it.
And you don't want it to get too popular?
I don't want it to get too popular.
No. Well, keep it clean. I'm sure.
Absolutely. Keep it clean. That would just be. Yeah, maybe I should let other people walk there. Yeah, okay.
Okay. That's great. Thanks, Leslie. And lastly, your opportunity to shine a light on someone else in Bishop Stortford doing incredible things. Who is doing something special in town that more people need to know about?
Well, this is sort of a collective who, and it's these guys. It's Hummingbird Cancer Support Group. They are just the most amazing team of people, and they are providing, therefore, anybody who is either currently going through or has been through a cancer diagnosis, for them and for their families, and they're just providing a safe space once a week where you're just treated as the person rather than the patient. And there's access to exercise, holistic treatment. So you can, Reiki or reflexology or, massage or whatever, some lovely treatments, some very gentle exercise, mindfulness. We've got hypnotherapy just coming on board as well. We've got lots of lovely things. And it's just a social time. People just come and sit and chat as well. And it's just in this lovely supportive environment. So yeah, once a week on a Monday, out at Great Haddam Golf Club from 10 till 1.
We'll link up to that as well,
Thank you.
so that anybody, if they want to support or get involved, they can do that. And is there someone from there we can maybe get on the podcast as well?
I would say yes. I know a few people that you could.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, let's we'll look to set that up offline.
Brilliant.
I know you've already mentioned it, Leslie, but where is the best place for people to find out online about DKMS? So if they're inspired by what you've already said today, and they want to get registered, what's the best thing for them to do?
Well, if they're wanting to get registered, then as I say, they can go to dkms.org.uk/register. That will take them straight to filling in their information and ordering their kit the swab kit to be sent to their home. So that's the easiest way. If we've got people who are thinking about volunteering, sort of on an ad hoc basis or a little bit more, or they want to maybe get involved in fundraising or whatever else, actually they can reach out to me. And if I'll give you some details. Do you want to maybe add them in afterwards as well?
Yeah, definitely.
And I can give you those contact things, because clearly we're very keen. We're looking to try and have more people across the area who would be able to give up some time just to help support an event, or if they happen to want something happening in their organisation. So I'm looking at schools, sports clubs, any sort of business organisation or business, whatever, anywhere with people think they would like us to come in and do something for them, or that they would like to support us in some other way. We're very, very keen to talk to them.
So anybody locally, they can get directly in contact with you, and you can help facilitate that. Wonderful. Leslie, thank you so much for joining us today on the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast. It's been wonderful, and I hope over the next few weeks with the events that you've got running, you can hit those numbers that you're trying to get more people registered. And hopefully through being on here as well, we can spread the word a little bit more for you.
That would be amazing. And yes, and James, if you do, you'll need to get some photographs taken if you do manage to.
Yes, I will
do these as well.
Make sure I get some selfies, or someone taking a photograph of me. I don't have enough arms probably to do
You won't,
a selfie.
No.
Okay.
No, you won't. You'll need someone to do that, but definitely get some photographs taken so we can encourage some others. And obviously, if you get anybody inquiring about anything, you can just direct them to me. But that's brilliant. Thank you so much for the opportunity. We're desperately trying to grow our profile, so this has been very, very helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Leslie.
You're very welcome.
And if you enjoyed this episode, the best way to support us is to hit follow, leave a quick review on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, and then share it on your socials or with someone in town who you think should hear it. If you think someone might be able to support the work that Leslie's doing, share this podcast with them, share a video with them. It's going to help out. Leslie's going to help out the town and the community that we all live in. And if you can think of a local legend that we should feature next, someone just like Leslie who's doing incredible things in the community, drop me a message or tag them below in the comments so we can tell their story and shine a light on the work that they are doing. That's it from me. Please go out there, support something local today, and get registered on the DKMS website. We'll put the links in the show notes as always, and you can follow up with that direct.
You're very welcome. Thanks, James.
If you run a business built on trust, but your website's full of stock photos and silence, we need to talk. True Tone Testimonials helps coaches, consultants, and other service providers turn real client stories into high-converting video content. No scripts, no fluff, Just honest words from real people who already love what you do. They're professionally filmed and ready to drop onto your site or into your socials. Head to truetonetestimonials.card.co. Let your clients do the selling. Okay, support local. Let's get back to the show.